Okay. Yesterday. Okay, there we go. I think we're live for good. Yesterday I got nowhere really, and I didn't know why I was getting nowhere. So I cheated a little bit. I got open code to have a look at why, and it was kind of embarrassing or like silly. Because what did he find out? I think there was some like syntactic errors, like here on the title. I was writing, what was I writing? No, this was fine. Oh yeah, like a couple of simple things, like these were not null terminated before. But I think the biggest one was, jeez, what was the biggest one? It wasn't like a method. I think it was an event, if I'm not wrong. Oh, it might be this one. Oh, yes, it was. Because I realized why you can't use size of like slice of tea for an array of like or anything. Because slice is a pointer and a length, and they're both 8 bytes. So it makes 16 bytes. But we were expecting 3 numbers and a len. So that was why I couldn't read the top level event. Sometimes, because I think a lot of the times there was enough to sort of just read past it. Actually, now I have another question. What is I have above, right? Yeah, okay, I think so we're good to go. I can run it, and also after work yesterday, spent some time trying to get it to run. Yeah. So this is the configure event, if I'm not wrong. But now I'm missing another. Yeah, there's still something to do. Things to do, like I've added to do here. But I think we're good to attach a buffer. At least we know that it's working. That's a good point. Good start. But before I do, I want to know what is the debug.print buffer size. What size of buff? Oh, sorry, it should be size of type of buff. So what is it? Interesting. So it's this size here, because there is no pointer. It's just the length. No, it's not even the length. What if this was idle fail? I want to change this to 232. What would that be? Okay. I think I just leave that as is. Oops. Size of 4096 u32. 32. Guessing it would be 4 times whatever that number is. Okay. And that is good to know. On the other hand, if I change this to let's say type of pointer to slice, I think this should be 16. Motherfucker. Why is that not 16? Oh, because that's only a pointer. No, that makes sense. That's only 8, yes. But let's say this was a slice. I think that would be 16. Why is it still 8? It's still a pointer. That is true. Anyway, yeah, that was something. Okay, I need to like clean out some of these print statements before I proceed. Yeah, I think we can just ignore them for now. Don't really care. Oh, hang on. I just want to know what object they're coming from. Yeah, okay. So, object 32, I think is, what's this? Wayland. Is it done? No, I think 2 is registry, if I'm not wrong. And it is the global event. We already have the interfaces. We don't need to bind to anything, so I think just get rid of that for now. And then we can deal with these. Unhandle top level event 3. Handle top level config event. There is a to do here. Okay, I think we can continue. Where was I? XTG shell, XTG surface. Blah, 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 blah. App size constraint. Okay, this is what we've done. The client must perform initial commit. Done that. The compositor will reply with initial WL surface state, such as WL surface dot preferred buffer scale. I think we do have this. Yeah, I think this is the one I never really got. I've never seen this event. But I do get the XTG surface dot configured event. Let me just check what is object ID 2 just in case. Compositor is 3. Okay, I'm just gonna Hope this one's not very critical. Double surface preferred buffer scale. What is that actually doing? WL surface. Preferred buffer scale. Hang on, is that? That's the top level event. This event indicates the preferred buffer scale for the surface. It is sent whenever the compositor's preference changes. Before receiving this event, the preferred buffer scale for the surface is 1. Okay. It is intended that scaling aware clients use this event to scale their content and use WL surface set buffer scale to indicate the scale they have rendered with. This allows the clients to supply a higher detail buffer. The compositor shall emit value greater than 0. Okay. So I think it's safe to guess it's 1. Well, to be fair, so far, all my guesses have like backfired. Okay, let's go back to the surface. Anywho, we'll put a pin in it. Maybe I'll put a note somewhere. I left my door open. Hang on. Oh, jeez. You gotta get out. He'll just complain the whole hour. All right, back to oh, like, yeah, I think to this fine. Event not received. Hopefully not a problem. But I never really check my to-do comments. Okay, we do have so after this point we can do attach buffer. Before I do that, there's what did I want to do? Yes. XTG surface configured event. XTG surface configured event. And then do acknowledge true. What if I don't? I don't know if it sends any other events. Okay, so that's the last event it seems to send. So I can handle the others before. Client must acknowledge it and is then allowed to attach buffer to map the surface. That means I don't need to handle any of these other events. But what are they? I think the first one is top level surface ID. So XTG top level and then configure. Ask the client to resize. Oh, interesting. So I think we sort of need to handle it. Configure even asks the client to resize its top level surface or to change its state. Okay, resize the top level surface. Okay, the configured state should not be applied immediately. See XTG configure for details. The width and height arguments specify a hint to the window about how its surface should be resized in window geometry coordinates. See the window set window geometry. If the width or height arguments are 0, it means the client should decide its own window dimensions. This may happen when the compositor needs to configure the state of the surface but doesn't have any information about any previous or expected dimension. Yeah, because we haven't said it yet. The states listed in the event specify how the width height argument should be interpreted and possibly how it should be drawn. Client must send an act configure in response to this event. Interesting. So we do need to acknowledge this as well. Knowledge. Let's say surface config. And then top level config. Is it and or not? Top level config. Let's just wait for both just in case. And I think here no, that should be an and. Yeah, always mix up the and the or. So here act top level config equals true. But what do we return? XTG surface configure. The configure event marks the end of a configure sequence. A configure sequence is a set of one or more events configuring the state of the XTG surface, including the final XTG surface configure event. Where applicable, XTG surface roles will, during a configure sequence, extend this event as a latch state sent as events before the XTG surface configure event. Ah, interesting. So you could get, like, you get a series of events and then you'll get a configure and then you can acknowledge it. Such events should be considered to make up a set of atomically applied configuration states where XTG surface.configure commits the accumulated state. Okay, so you only need to send one, if I'm reading this right. Clients should arrange their surface for the new states and then send configure request with the serial sent in the configure at some point before committing the new service. It says before committing the new service. It's like conflicting pieces of information. What if I move this down? I don't think I'll get any of the events. Actually, I get both. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm guessing if you change any of the state of the client of the surface or the roles. Let me just double check. Including blah 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 blah. If the client receives multiple configure events before it can respond to one, it's free to discard all but the last event it received. Okay, I'm still not sure what I'm supposed to do with this configure. Seems like not a lot. Okay, what am I doing? And those are just hints apparently, because I think I only get 0. If I just grab these. Parse configure event. Top level config. Bound. Why am I pressing G? Bounds to top level. Yeah, in this configure event receipt. Apparently when it's 0 means the client should decide its own window dimension. Needs to configure the state of the surface but doesn't have any information about any previous dimension. So does that also mean there's too much noise here? This event 2012 configure bounds. If the width and height is 0, it means bounds is unknown and equivalent to as no configure bounds event was ever sent for this surface. Is there a top level? Digi surface? How do I set the bounds? It's a window geometry. I want to know if I set window geometry. It needs XDG surface ID. XDG surface ID. Will it return a different width and height? Interesting. It changed nothing. I could try set maximized. What did I call it? Set max. I probably removed it. Also, just realized something. How do you handle an error event? If I remember correctly here, okay, the first event was an error event. These errors and globals can be emitted in response to any server request. How do you... Interesting. Guess if op is display ID, handle event. Yeah, I think based on the op there, you can tell when there's an error. So what about here? I see error objects, but I don't see the errors. Wayland. Oh, base, maybe in the basics. Quest events. Wayland protocol. Handle errors. Basic principles, code generation by format, interfaces, versioning, connect time, compositor surfaces. Is there anything on server sends back events to clients? Each event is emitted from an object. Events can be error conditions. Includes the object ID and the event opcode, from which the client can determine the type of event. So my understanding is these are the events. This is an object. Mhm. Yeah, that's something actually I've never thought about. You can get the state on configure bounds. Capabilities from WM capabilities. I get both of these. I do get this event. Maybe I can print this. WM capabilities is an array. I think it's this one, top level event 3. So when assigned by compositor when the user wants the service to be closed. This should be equivalent of clicking the close button in client-side decorations. Interesting. Okay. Okay, what do I want? I want 3. Let's make this unreachable. Debug print unhandled top level close event. Although they shouldn't be fired because I don't see the window yet. Level event, and let's create WM capabilities. It's just an array. Abilities. I guess I could just return an array. Don't need that. Let's grab this. Capabilities event. We'll return a slice of array of 32-bit capabilities. U32. Expected buffer length should be, the minimum should be size of U32. We don't need this. Don't need that. We do need that. Capabilities. Wonder what should this be? Can I just cast it to size of U32? Zig will. Zig can figure it out. Maybe? Not sure. I don't think that's right. Hey, Tiny K. How you doing? Or I go through each. Should be surely be able to just pointer cast. Because you can do it the other way. Is it 5A? Yeah, 505. Yeah, I'm good too. Much better than yesterday, I should say. I did spend some time after work yesterday. to try and fix some of the problems offline, because sometimes it's a lot easier. I didn't fix all of them, but I'm at much better position than yesterday. Let's check Zig. Documentation, slices. Is that a cast? Fortunately, I understand very little of Zig. What do you normally program in? Slicing by comp time known indexes will produce another pointer to an array. And it will point to a as far I think this should work. Should. Alright, let's just see if that works. Capabilities. And I don't feel like the docs are very beginner friendly. Oh yeah, I think I think with Zig you gotta like just look at the code, and that's the best way. There are almost no docs. I mean, especially for the standard library, it's pretty bad. But I do find these docs, what's it called, the language specification, is pretty good. There's like enough examples that you can look at. Yeah, and then it'll make sense. Pointer cast. Converts the pointer's element type to another. This creates a new pointer that can cause undetectable illegal behavior. Depending on loads and stores that pass through it. Generally, other kinds of type conversions are preferable to pointer cast. Okay. What is align cast? I don't need to change the alignment. Oh, maybe I think I do. Ohm's type coercion. This cast is allowed when conversion is unambiguous and safe, and is the preferred way to convert between types whenever possible. Okay, so I guess and I think I need to provide the type. Yeah. Slice of U32. It doesn't feel right. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm. Let's see. Anyway. Let me grab these. Just copy paste. Level event capabilities. Parse. What did I call it? parse capabilities event. Okay. Events. Capabilities. Oh, that's a typo. Okay. And then I can just print capabilities any capabilities. Yeah, that's what I figured. Expected type U32, found U8. So I need to what does it take? Type and an expression. Okay, so that does mean I can use line cost. Is that right? I don't know, I'm just guessing at this point. Okay, that does make sense. You can't coerce because U8 so much smaller. So I wonder if I need to like individually construct the slice. Say read slice of U8 as I mean just typing it doesn't make sense. I'm dot write int native U32 buffer. Okay, but that's to get bytes. Ah, interesting. You can align. I didn't know that. Pointer cost. Where did it go? Yeah. The at and get rid of this. Pointer cost. I go back here. Do line cost. Is that what we did it? But it doesn't take a type though. I think he meant add as size of view 32. Line cast. Does it take an alignment? Oh, there must be an align. Number of bytes this type should be aligned to for the current target to match the API. Standard line forward. Runtime address alignment. It takes the same type. Actually, now that I think of it, this doesn't look correct at all. Yeah, it only takes a value. Where's the syntax coming from? No. What did they say about this anyways? I need to cast it to a C pointer. Shows the data actually has the correct alignment. If it doesn't have the right alignment, then you will still get a runtime panic in safe modes and undefined behavior in unsafe modes. Linecast checks the alignment if it doesn't move the data to create a different alignment. The easiest thing to do would be to use a slice of a line of U32 of U8. What is a line? Incorrect pointer alignment. Pointer. Line of 1, I32 pointer from int. What is, well, actually, now that I think, what does it mean? Pointer alignment. Mouse pointer. Memory point. There we go. Let's go Stack Overflow. Memory system will monitor restricted access memory to the granularity and alignment of its word size. This is the case for a number of reasons. Speed, multiple levels of cache memory that data must be pulled through. Supporting single byte reads would make the memory system throughput tightly bound to the execution unit throughput. This is the IO blah 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 hard drives. CPU always reads at its word size. Interesting. So when you do an unaligned address access on a processor that supports it, the processor is going to read multiple words. The CPU will read each word of memory that you requested address straddles. Causes an amplification of 2x the number of memory transactions required to access the requested data. Because of this, it can be very easily be slower to read 2 bytes than 4. Yep, because you gotta read it twice. So you have a structured memory that looks like this. 1 byte, 4 bytes, 2 bytes. A 32-bit processor, it would most likely be aligned like shown here. Yeah. The processor can read each of these members in one transaction. Say you have packed version of the struct, maybe from the network where it was packed. For transmission efficiency, it might look something like this. Okay. Reading the first byte is going to be the same. When you ask the processor to give you 16 bits from that pointer, it will have to read a word from and left shift 1 byte to place it in a 16-bit register. Some extra work, but most can handle that in one cycle. When you ask for 32 bits from the second pointer, you will get a 2x amplification. The processor will read from 0 into the result register and shift 1 byte, and then read again from 4 into a temporary register, shift right 3 bytes, then OR with the result register. Okay. For any given address space, if the architecture can assume that the two LSBs are always 0, then it can access 4 times more memory. The two saved bits can represent 4 distinct states. The same amount of memory with 2 bits for something like flags. Taking the two LSBs off of an address would give you a 4-byte alignment, also referred to as a stride of 4 bytes. Interesting. I didn't understand the whole, the least significant stuff, but in terms of stride, so that would mean if I were to read it as a U32, I need to let the compiler know that whatever pointer you have, it needs to be like a stride of 4. Now I'm thinking, like, I don't think casting a slice even sounds right then, because the length can't be the same. Or would it become just zeros? Okay, I still don't know what to do, but each time an address is incremented, it is effectively incrementing bit 2, not bit 0. That is, the last two bits will continue to be 0. This can even affect physical design of the system. If the address bus needs 2 fewer bits, there can be 2 fewer pins on the CPU and 2 fewer traces on the circuit board. Atomicity. The CPU can operate on an aligned word of memory atomically, meaning that no other instruction can interrupt that operation. Right, because I guess it doesn't overlap with anything else. The memory system of a processor is quite a bit more complex and involved than described here. Discussion can help many processors work similarly. There are many more benefits to adhering to memory. Oh, I think I know what this one is. No. Okay. I mean, I have more information about alignment. But that would also mean I would need to allocate the memory. Okay, you know, this all came from wanting to know the capability. Actually, what if I just printed it as is for now? Size of U8 and capabilities would be, hang on. Yeah, that's fine. How did you do dump X? Dump X. Abilities. Okay, so you get 1, 4, 3, and 2. What does that mean? Capabilities. Show window menus available. Sub, maximize, and unset are available, so everything's available. Okay, that's good to know. We'll leave that way for now. Where's this to do coming from? Okay, it's handled. Okay, where was I? What do I need to do next? Okay, I need to attach the buffer. Yes. Okay, I'll attach that tomorrow. What time is it? Oh, it's actually quite early. Got some time. attach. Oh, I think it goes to surface. Okay, there were 3 conditions. The client must acknowledge, config event, the client must acknowledge it, and then allow to attach a buffer to map the surface. Okay. This is the bit where I'm not sure about. Attach WL surface. Attach. You need to create. Yeah, you know what? I think it's a problem for tomorrow. Find some events. Or maybe after work, I might spend some more time. It was quite fun yesterday. All right, I'm gonna call it a day there, because attaching the buffer is a bit of a pain in the ass, at least from doing it last time. So I think it's best to come back with like a fresh perspective, and then that's the only thing I'll be doing tomorrow. Yeah, sounds good. All right, that's how I'm gonna justify it to myself anyways. All right, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.